Jin Hyuk's hand was steady on the trigger. He stood in the dark alley behind his club. A man begged for mercy at his feet. The rain was pouring down. It washed away the dirt on the pavement. Jin Hyuk didn't care about mercy. He only cared about respect. He raised the gun. He closed one eye. Then he heard it. A voice. It was soft. It was beautiful. It was coming from the street corner. He froze. The man on the ground scrambled away. Jin Hyuk didn't even chase him. He just followed the sound. Stay tuned to see how this one voice changed the most dangerous man in the city. If you love stories about destiny and power, please subscribe to the channel right now. It helps us keep telling these stories for you. Also, let me know in the comments where you are watching this video from. I love to see where our viewers live. Now, let's get back to the story. The rain in Seoul was cold that night. It was the kind of rain that makes you feel lonely. Arya stood under a small roof. It was the entrance to a closed grocery store. She was 22 years old. She had no money in her pocket. She had no food in her stomach. Her shoes were soaked. Her coat was thin. She had lost her job that morning. Her landlord had locked her out of her room. She had nothing left but her voice. She looked across the street. There was a giant neon sign. It said the Obsidian. It was the most expensive club in Korea. Powerful men went there. They wore suits that cost more than Arya's life. They drove cars that looked like spaceships. Arya didn't want their money. She just wanted to feel warm. She closed her eyes. She started to sing. It was an old song. It was a song about a bird with a broken wing. Her voice was deep. It was clear. It sounded like a bell in the middle of a storm. She didn't see the black cars pull up. She didn't see the guards in black suits. She just sang. Jin Hyuk walked out of the alley. He was the head of the Silver Dragon Syndicate. People called him the Dragon because he was fierce. He was also very lonely. He lived in a house with 50 rooms. But he lived there alone. He walked toward his car. His guards held umbrellas over his head. Then he stopped. He heard the girl. He had heard the best singers in the world. He had paid millions for private concerts. But he had never heard anything like this. This voice felt like it was pulling on his heart. "Who is that?" he asked. "Just a girl in the rain, boss." His guard replied. "She's probably looking for a handout. Do you want us to move her?" Jin Hyuk didn't answer. He walked toward her. He didn't care that he was getting wet. He stood 5 feet away from Arya. She didn't notice him at first. She was hitting a high note. It was perfect. When she finished, she opened her eyes. She saw a tall man. He looked like a king. He looked dangerous. Arya stepped back. She was scared. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'll go. I didn't mean to block the sidewalk." Jin Hyuk looked at her. He saw her shivering. He saw how thin she was. "Why are you singing in the rain?" he asked. "I have nowhere else to go," she whispered. Jin Hyuk took off his coat. It was heavy and warm. He put it over her shoulders. It smelled like expensive wood and rain. "You are coming with me," he said. "Where?" Arya asked. She was terrified. "Inside," he said. "The rain is no place for a voice like yours." He led her into the Obsidian. The guards opened the doors. The music inside was loud and fast. People were dancing. But Jin Hyuk walked to the center of the room. He raised his hand. The music stopped. The lights came up. Everyone looked at him. They looked at the girl in the wet dress. "This is Arya," Jin Hyuk said. His voice was like thunder. "She's my personal singer. From now on, she only sings for me. And if anyone looks at her the wrong way, they deal with me." The room was silent. No one dared to speak. Jin Hyuk turned to his manager. "Get her a room upstairs. Get her dry clothes. Get her a doctor. And feed her. She looks like she hasn't eaten in days." Arya was confused. She felt like she was in a movie. She was taken to a luxury suite. It had a bed that felt like a cloud. She had a hot bath. She ate a meal of steak and soup. For the first time in months, she felt safe. The next day, Jin Hyuk came to see her. He wasn't wearing his suit. He was wearing a simple black shirt. He looked less like a boss and more like a man. "I have a deal for you," he said. "You live here. You have everything you need. In return, you sing for me every night. Just for 1 hour. You don't have to sing for the crowd. Just for me." "Why me?" Arya asked. "Because when you sing, The noise in my head stops, he said. My life is full of people screaming. It is full of guns and fighting. Your voice is the only quiet thing I have found. Arya agreed. She didn't have a choice, but she also wanted to stay. She felt a strange connection to this man. He was a monster to the world, but to her, he was the person who gave her a coat. Months went by. Arya became the talk of the city. People called her the ghost of the obsidian. No one ever saw her. They only heard her voice coming from the VIP lounge. Jin Hyuk sat in his chair every night. He would close his eyes and listen. They began to talk. Arya told him about her childhood. She told him about her mother, who loved music. She told him how she lost everything. Jin Hyuk told her about his life. He told her how he had to be tough to survive. He told her about the friends he had lost. One night, Jin Hyuk took her to the roof of the club. They looked out at the city lights. Are you happy here, Arya? He asked. I am safe here, she said, but I worry about you. You have many enemies. Jin Hyuk laughed. It was a dry, sad laugh. That is the price of power. I have everything, but I have to sleep with a gun under my pillow. Maybe you don't have to, Arya said. She took his hand. His hand was scarred and rough. Her hand was soft. That was the moment everything changed. A red dot appeared on Jin Hyuk's chest. A sniper was on the building across the street. Get down, Jin Hyuk yelled. He tackled Arya to the floor. A bullet whizzed over their heads. The guards rushed to the roof. There was shouting and gunfire. Jin Hyuk held Arya close. He was shielding her with his own body. Stay here, he commanded. Don't move. He ran toward the edge of the roof. He pulled out his own weapon. He was the dragon again. He fired 3 shots. The sniper fell. When it was over, Jin Hyuk walked back to Arya. He was breathing hard. His eyes were cold. This is why I didn't want you near me, he said. My life is a target. You are not safe with me. I was never safe before I met you, Arya said. She stood up. She wasn't crying. She was angry. Don't try to push me away. I'm not just your singer. I'm your friend. Jin Hyuk looked at her for a long time. Then, he did something he had never done. He hugged her. He held her like she was the most precious thing in the world. But the danger was not over. The man who sent the sniper was a rival boss named Mr. Cho. Mr. Cho wanted the club. He wanted the territory. And now he knew about Arya. A week later, Arya was in the kitchen of the mansion. She was making tea. Suddenly, the back door was kicked open. Men in masks burst in. The guard were caught by surprise. Arya tried to run, but they were too fast. They grabbed her and put a cloth over her mouth. Everything went black. When she woke up, she was in a cold basement. Her hands were tied. Mr. Cho was sitting in front of her. He was an old man with a mean smile. So, you are the girl who made the dragon soft, Mr. Cho said. I didn't believe it. I thought Jin Hyuk was made of stone. But he loves you, doesn't he? Arya didn't speak. She glared at him. I am going to use you to take everything from him. Cho said. He will give me his ports. He will give me his clubs. He will give me his life to get you back. He picked up a phone and called Jin Hyuk. He put it on speaker. I have your bird, Jin Hyuk, Cho said. There was a long silence on the other end. When Jin Hyuk spoke, his voice was so low it was terrifying. If you touch her, I will burn your world to the ground. Jin Hyuk said. I will not negotiate. I will not trade. I am coming for you, and I am bringing hell with me. Cho laughed. You have 1 hour. Come to the shipyard. Come alone, or she dies. He hung up. He looked at Arya. He won't come alone. He isn't that stupid. And when he brings his men, my men will be waiting. It's a trap. Arya felt a tear run down her face. She wasn't afraid for herself. She was afraid for the man who saved her. An hour passed. The shipyard was quiet. The only sound was the waves hitting the metal. Cho and his 20 men were waiting in the main warehouse. They had rifles. They were ready. Suddenly, the lights went out. The warehouse was pitch black. Shots rang out. Men screamed. It wasn't a battle. It was a hunt. Jin Hyuk didn't bring an army. He didn't need one. He knew the shipyard better than anyone. He moved through the shadows like a ghost. One by one, Cho's men fell. Cho was panicking. He grabbed Arya and held a knife to her throat. "Come out," Cho yelled. "I'll kill her. I swear." A door creaked open. Jin Hyuk walked into the middle of the room. A single spotlight came on above him. He was covered in blood. None of it was his. "Let her go, Cho," Jin Hyuk said. "Drop your gun." Cho shouted. Jin Hyuk dropped his gun. He held up his hands. "You wanted me. Here I am. Let the girl go. She has nothing to do with this." Cho smiled. "You really are a fool. You chose a girl over an empire." He raised his knife to strike, but Arya wasn't a victim anymore. She remembered what Jin Hyuk told her about being fierce. She bit Cho's hand as hard as she could. Cho yelled in pain. He dropped the knife. In that second, Jin Hyuk moved. He didn't need a gun. He was faster than a bullet. He reached Cho in 3 steps. He grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground. "I told you," Jin Hyuk whispered. "I would burn your world." He threw Cho into a stack of metal crates. Cho was knocked unconscious. Jin Hyuk didn't even look back at him. He ran to Arya. He untied her hands. "Are you okay?" he asked. He was checking her face, her arms, her legs. He was desperate. "I'm okay," she said. She was shaking now. "You came alone. You could have been killed." "I told you," he said. "I would always come for you." They walked out of the warehouse. The sun was starting to rise. The sky was pink and orange. It was beautiful. They went back to the mansion. Jin Hyuk called a meeting of all his men. He stood at the head of the table. Arya stood beside him. "I am making a change," Jin Hyuk said. "We are leaving the old ways. No more drugs. No more senseless killing. We are going to be a business. A real business. If you don't like it, you can leave now with your pockets full. But if you stay, you follow my rules." Most of the men stayed. They respected the dragon more than ever. They had seen what he did for the person he loved. Years passed. The Obsidian was no longer a Mafia club. It was the most famous jazz club in Asia. Arya was the star. She didn't sing in a private lounge anymore. She sang on a big stage. People traveled from all over the world to hear her. Jin Hyuk was no longer a Mafia boss. He was a businessman. He was a philanthropist. He used his money to build hospitals and music schools. One evening, it started to rain. Arya was finishing her final song. She looked out into the crowd. She saw Jin Hyuk sitting in the front row. He was older now. He had a few gray hairs, but he still looked at her with the same eyes. Those eyes that saw her in the rain all those years ago. She finished her song. The crowd stood up and cheered. She walked off the stage. Jin Hyuk was waiting for her in the wings. "That was your best performance yet," he said. "It's easy to sing when I'm singing for you," she replied. They walked out of the club together. They didn't need guards anymore. They didn't need umbrellas. They walked into the rain. They were laughing. Arya looked up at the sky. She felt the water on her face. She remembered the girl who had nothing. She remembered the cold and the hunger. "What are you thinking about?" Jin Hyuk asked. "I'm thinking about that night," she said. "The night you found me." "I didn't find you, Arya," he said. He leaned down and kissed her. "You were the one who found me. I was the one who was lost. You just sang me home." They walked down the street, hand in hand. The rain kept falling, but for the first time in their lives, it didn't feel lonely. It felt like music. The city of Seoul kept moving. People hurried past them. No one knew that the man in the coat was once a dragon. No one knew that the woman was once a ghost. All they saw were 2 people who were very much in love. And that is how the story ends. It is not a story about gangs or money. It is a story about a voice. It is a story about how one person can reach into the darkest heart and find the light. Arya still sings every night. And every night, Jin Hyuk is there to listen. Because as long as she is singing, the world is a beautiful place. The silver dragon found his heart, and the girl in the rain found her home. They live a long and happy life. They never forgot where they came from. They always remembered the song that saved them both. Sometimes, when it rains very hard in Seoul, people say they can hear a faint melody. They say it sounds like a bird with a broken wing that has finally learned how to fly. And if you listen closely, you might just hear it too. It is a song of hope. It is a song of love. It is the song of the boss and his singer. I hope you enjoyed this long and emotional journey. It is a reminder that no matter how dark life gets, there is always a song waiting to be heard. If you found this story moving, please remember to subscribe to the channel. We have many more stories to share with you. And don't forget to leave a comment telling me where you are watching from. I read every single one of them. Thank you for being here with us today. See you in the next story.